is the wee hours of the morning. I'm here in London, nice and quiet. Hopefully you can hear me. Everyone else is asleep. I just couldn't sleep, so here I am again. And I just recently been talking about, what inspires and motivates me, and particularly, having a mindset of abundance and attracting prosperity and meeting those people that in fact are willing to share with us. And I was kind of looking at it from another side. You know, as a father, I'm often observing my kids, and just you know, um, more recently though, because I have the time to do so. In the past, I was either working too hard, or I was immersed in my work, or I was too myopic in what I was doing that I didn't, sadly, take and spend enough of the time with them and the child, and I do regret that, and I'm hoping to turn that around. And now that I'm able to do that, I know those times are lost, but it doesn't mean that we need to lose too many more. And I bring this up because I had, the good fortune of being able to actually spend an afternoon watching my kids, and one was on the piano who was just exploring it, and it was, she's dancing around, tickling the ivory, and not getting it right, and giving it a go, and jumping in feet first, fearless. Kids are fearless, and it was, it's just a joy to watch. Another one, drawing and creating something imaginative and visionary, and new ideas, and almost inventions, and creativity, and art, and just all these little creations that they had come up with. And just to see that process and watch them in action, how they're getting into it is, again, it's a real joy, it's a real treat, where you have all the things out there, to observe and witness your children growing up is for me, well, that's the best. I mean, after all, they are my why. That's why I get up in the morning. And again, another incident recently of getting out there, and be it sport or physical activity, and the ability to do something and master something, not just the musical instrument, but sport, like say tennis. And it got me thinking, and I was thinking, how the interesting thing is in the beginning, completely fearless. Think about how many times one gives it a go to actually learn to walk, and how many times we crash and burn and often hurt ourselves, but still get up there determined to get through and get there. I mean, that's tough stuff. You can even go a step further back and chunk it down even further, of thinking about the first time you grabbed a spoon and a fork and was able to actually get that food on the fork and allow it, balance, coordinate it, and get it into your mouth without it just ending up on your front or on the floor. I mean, those are big life challenges. And the interesting thing is as we grow, we get more into it. But however, what I realized as well is that even though I was very impulsive, and I was very active, and I was also a bit accident prone, and often it was because I was kind of looking without watching. I wasn't watching my feet. My head was kind of in the clouds and just excited by what I was doing, and I would get hurt. And, I've broken bones. I've cut myself up. I've been banged up and fallen out of trees. I mean, just things happen. But it's like giving it a go, getting out there and mucking in. But as one gets injured, or one gets bounced around and banged up by life, in various ways, be they physical, which seem to be more easy in many cases, not always, to recover from. It's the internal ones that are a bit of a struggle, and particularly when it comes to mindset, and belief, and self-respect, and self-worth, and all those things that play into it. And at the time one goes through these things, in situ, or at the moment, there may not necessarily be the awareness or the understanding of what that actually means. And it wasn't until, I kind of had some good coaches, and I became a teacher myself, and when it came down to nature and nurture, and, having children of my own, it's just the power of belief and the power of a positive mindset. And like I said, watching my kids take on an instrument, or take on an art project, or come up with these ideas, write a story. I mean, one of my kids is an avid reader and writer, and very, very good at it, and very creative. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her dad, but she is. In fact, she won a Kindle, so she's doing all right. as part of a contest to do creative writing, and she's just turned 10. So, but where it's very easy to kind of see in action is during activity. And my eldest was off playing tennis the other day, and she was struggling with her kind of her swing, and and kept looking to the coach for kind of to please the coach who was teaching her, and I was watching it, and I was thinking, I mean, at one level, that kind of level of consideration and that level of kind of respect and that level is very healthy to kind of have those social skills, but not at the expense of ourselves. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the sense that if one has the self-belief, there isn't really the need for an external validation, that kind of attachment to compliment and needing it. It doesn't mean that we don't need encouragement. We all do. But when we're doing something that we're not really sure of, and we're possibly a bit fearful or we're not confident in, that external validation or encouragement is essential. However, there are those out there who are already confident before they walk in, believing that it's already happened, believing that it's going to happen, believing that they've already done it. And we're talking mindsets of champions who've already seen the finish line. The only thing is they're competing against other people who see it doing the same thing, and then their ability kicks in. But the belief can be, they're really hungry for it, they'll go for it. And some people would say that's competitiveness. Others would say that's survival, survival of the fittest. Whatever one's viewpoint, the end result is that whether or not one is actually able to achieve what one sets out to do. And in an earlier day, as a dad, I wouldn't necessarily take offense, and I don't want to say that I would, but I would be overly concerned that my child wasn't getting it, not because they weren't winning, but because I was almost kind of like, you're not getting it, you're not getting there, and I would feel for them, and I could feel the frustration, but then possibly I would add to the frustration by going, And as I've been around people who have become more aware of the value of a positive mindset and a positive mind focus and a belief and self-belief, is I would approach her or them in how can we get there? Not because I'm a part of it, but because I'm more interested in them believing in themselves than just having me believe in them and having them doing for me or the coach or somebody else outside of themselves. So the navigation and the rub here is, at least as I see it, is if we have that powerful belief in ourselves, we then are getting out of our way because we're not presenting obstacles of disbelief and various other permutations of that in front of ourselves. And we then can actually experience and enjoy the full experience of what it is that we're doing without all the baggage. And that is full, complete living. That is full, that's I don't want to say possibly pure living. Because all that other crap falls away. I mean, it reminds me of a story when each of my kids that I've taught to learn to ride a bicycle, running down the street and trying to get them, I think that we started a couple of them on training wheels. In fact, got rid of them because it actually was a hindrance. It was a hindrance because it was a crutch. It didn't mean that I didn't need to be there. It didn't mean that I wasn't around. It didn't mean that there was a couple, scuffs and bangs and bruises. But that's life, It's like if you don't, test ourselves a bit, we often aren't going to learn in trial and error. I mean, all the greats have done it. But I was there for them in that regard. And the interesting thing is I would say, sing a song, distract your mind, get out of your way. And as soon as they did it, off they went. And same with the tennis stroke. Believe it. Where do you want to put the ball? Not where you think the coach wants you to put the ball. And then it would happen. Or what sound is it that you're wanting to put together, that you're tackling the guitar or the piano or the clarinet? Or what story are you trying to portray through the words and the creative writing and the various other authorship that's going through? But to please themselves, not in a selfish way, but in kind of a self-fulfillment way. Because with that comes joy, and through that joy comes this abundance of experience and abundance of living, and through that abundance comes this kind of prosperous life and a positive, experience of living. And that in itself is rich. We often associate rich with, money, and in many cases it is. But I then take that rich idea to the next level, and that is the wealth of life. Because wealth is more about who we are and our inner resourcefulness as opposed to what we have. And that, to me, is kind of one of the key nuggets that are vital for our success and an enjoyment and having a good life experience. And I have to thank, my kids for showing me that. I mean, it wasn't until being on the other side, to see them go through it, that my penny dropped, that my light bulbs went off. And is one of the many, wonderful, just absolute wonderment of being a parent. So, just because we're old, we have many experiences and much wisdom, so do the young who come with their innocence and their much wisdom. So on that, make it a great day, have some great connections with people, reach out, and often just sit and observe. And you will see amazing things unfold in front of you that are incredible examples for you to follow, or to you to do, or for you to share your value. So on that note, see you on the next one.